The Krillian arena had stood for 3,000 cycles, its obsidian walls stained with the blood of 100 species. In all that time, no human had ever set foot in its killing grounds. Humans were considered too fragile, too soft for the galactic combat trials. They were the newcomers, the weaklings who had only just stumbled into faster-than-light travel 20 years prior. Kevin pressed his face against the energy barrier separating the spectator section from the arena floor. His breath fogged the shimmering field as he watched the Vrexian executioner tear through its latest victim, a Thalmorian warrior whose exoskeleton cracked like dry wood under the beast's claws. They shouldn't have let her volunteer, Kevin muttered, his knuckles white as he gripped the railing. Gull doesn't understand what she's walking into. Beside him, Ambassador Zorath clicked his mandibles in what passed for Krillian laughter. Your female chose this fate, human. She signed the waiver. She spoke the words before the council. I will face your champion. Very dramatic. Very stupid. The crowd of thousands roared as the Vrexian hoisted the Thalmorian's corpse above its head. The creature stood 12 feet tall, its muscles rippling beneath armored scales that had turned aside plasma fire and molecular blades. Its forearms ended in claws that could rend steel. Its jaw could bite through starship hull plating. In 3,000 cycles, nothing had killed a Vrexian executioner in single combat. The arena's announcement system boomed across the stadium in a dozen languages. The next challenger approaches. Species, human. Planet of origin, Earth. Name, Gull. The crowd's roar shifted from bloodlust to mockery. Laughter rippled through the alien masses. Some spectators threw their refreshments at the arena floor in contempt. Humans weren't supposed to be here. They were supposed to stay in their little corner of the galaxy, playing at diplomacy and begging for trade routes. The entry gate ground open. Gull walked into the arena alone. She wore no armor, no environmental suit, just the standard-issue clothing of Earth's merchant marine, boots, cargo pants, and a tank top that left her arms bare. Her dark hair was tied back in a simple braid. She carried no weapons. Kevin's heart hammered against his ribs. She's going to die. Zorath, stop this. Use your authority. No authority exists here, the ambassador said quietly. All mockery had left his voice. Once the challenge is accepted, only death or surrender ends the trial. And your Gull did not strike me as someone who surrenders. The Vrexian executioner dropped the Thalmorian's corpse and turned its massive head toward Gull. It studied her with 6 yellow eyes, then threw back its head and roared. The sound was amplified through the arena's acoustics until it felt like a physical blow. The roar carried a message that every species understood. You are prey. You are nothing. You will die here. Gull stood perfectly still watching the beast. She didn't flinch, didn't retreat. She simply waited, her weight balanced on the balls of her feet, her expression calm. The Vrexian charged. It covered half the arena in 3 thunderous strides, its forearms outstretched to grab, rend, and tear. The crowd screamed. Kevin couldn't watch but couldn't look away. At the last possible instant, Gull moved. She didn't dodge backward or sideways. She moved forward inside the creature's reach, dropping under its grasping claws. Her right hand shot out and grabbed the Vrexian's forward left wrist. Her left hand seized a handful of the beast's throat armor, and then she did something that defied everything the galaxy knew about physics and biology. She pivoted. The Vrexian executioner, 1,200 pounds of muscle, scale, and rage, left the ground. Gull's muscles strained, her teeth gritted, but she completed the throw. The creature's own momentum became its enemy. It flipped through the air and crashed onto its back with a sound like a starship collision. The arena fell silent. The Vrexian tried to rise. Gull was already on top of it, her knees pinning 2 of its arms, her hands locked around its throat. The beast thrashed, its free arms clawing at her back, tearing cloth and skin. Blood ran down Gull's sides. She didn't let go. Humans, she growled, her voice carrying across the silent arena, evolved as persistence hunters. We don't quit. We don't surrender. And we sure as hell don't break. Her hands tightened. The Vrexian's armored throat scales, scales that had turned aside blades and bullets, began to crack. The sound was like ice breaking on a frozen lake. The beast's struggles grew weaker. Its yellow eyes went wide with something the Krillian arena had never witnessed in a Vrexian executioner. Fear. Gull leaned in close, her bloodied face inches from the creature's snout. You wanted to know what happens when a human enters your arena? She twisted her grip. This The crack echoed through the stadium like a gunshot. The Vryxian executioner went limp. Gull stood slowly, her breathing heavy, blood streaming from the claw marks across her back. She turned to face the crowd of thousands. The aliens stared back in absolute silence. Then she raised one blood-covered fist toward the sky. The crowd erupted, not in mockery this time, but in primal recognition. They had witnessed something impossible, something magnificent. A human, soft, weak, fragile, had done what no warrior in 3,000 cycles had accomplished. Kevin found himself shouting, his voice lost in the roar of thousands. Ambassador Zorath clicked his mandibles slowly. "Perhaps," he said quietly, "we have underestimated your species." Gull limped toward the exit gate. Before she passed through, she turned and met Kevin's eyes across the arena. Despite the blood and pain, she grinned. Kevin laughed through his tears. That was Gull. That was humanity. They didn't know when to quit. And the galaxy was about to learn what that meant.